Welcome back. We're still talking cost of governance. Mr. Lubogi, looking at Onibogi, yes. I don't know where the L is coming from.
Anyway.
You know, there are some tribes that have issues with L and N. Mr. Onibogi. Now, let's look at our fiscal framework, the budget in 2017.
Okay.
We have a deficit of over 2 trillion or thereabouts. That's our deficit. Now, debt servicing is about 1.66 trillion. That's in the budget. But then we're still talking about borrowing more. With the budget we have, with the income, about 4 trillion, thereabouts, our expenditure 7, deficit 2 point something, and then we're still thinking of borrowing. Is there a way we can turn things around? I mean, see where we are. Mrs. Beniche says, we have a nation to move forward. So let's talk moving forward. What can we do with where we are now?
If the government is sincere enough, there have been various advertisements on the reason why people need to pay their taxes. If government can be sincere enough, let government start and let's see if people will not follow. If people could see amenities, willingly people will pay their taxes. And you will remember that before 1999, Lagos State was making very few cash as their IGR. After Tinubu left, Tinubu did 8 years. After he left, it was at a particular amount. When Fashola came in, it jumped to almost ×3 or ×4. When Ambode came in, it's skyrocketing. So what it shows is that there are potentials when we look into the internally generated revenue. Now, the people in Lagos are willing to do all this because it was clear that at least in Lagos we could see a few things that are coming up. When Tinubu was there, we saw some roads. Because I remember it was when Tinubu was there, that was when the Adeolodeku road was fixed. That was when the Oregun road was fixed. When Fashola got there, people saw a lot of advancement.
So you're saying if people
are seeing what you are doing, naturally, you want to pay.
But are you implying that the people are not willing to pay taxes? Because
people are not willing to pay taxes.
There was a function where the finance minister was quoted as saying we need to increase our tax base. We need to get more people into the tax.
Yes, the tax band.
Yes. So is it that the people are not willing to pay, or the pressure is being directed at a certain group of people and some people are being spared?
Or the ones they paid before, they haven't seen,
Normally, the ones they paid before, nobody saw anything coming up from as a government, at the federal level. So naturally, people will want to avoid tax. There are some difference between avoidance and evasion. Because you might want to avoid, you might want to reduce. A lot of people are trying to avoid tax, if it's possible, because you are not seeing the dividend. But when you see what government is doing, naturally you want to pay. Just like we all have our phones. You know that reception have been improving. You could call Canada, you call anywhere in the world. So we are willingly to pay your 500 and buy your recharge card. Now, for areas whereby electricity runs smoothly, you go and pay your NEPA bill, you pay your card, you load, and then you enjoy it. But when you discover that the ones you have been paying, no benefits, so how do you want to force me to pay? So that's just the basic problem. Let government, let them start, and let's see if others will not follow.
Okay, if we start that way, people should pay more taxes so that we can have more in the coffers. Can we also look at, we've talked a bit about the National Assembly. People have said this bicameral, legislature that we have it's one of the issues. Can we have one? And even that one, can it be on part-time basis? Will it work for us?
For the National Assembly to be on part-time?
Yes.
I mean, for us, I think that's what should happen now. If there's one of the decisions we should make. But you see, decision making in Nigeria, you need to look at it at multi-levels. Who is going to make that decision? Who is pushing that bill? Who's going to make it happen? Are the people even within willing? You see, we have inherited what we voted for. The public now has to take responsibility, but doesn't mean the question is, how do we now move forward? For me, those in the National Assembly to save their faces, there are some for re-election in 2019. need to tell their people, their constituency, the truth, because the evidence of why they went there is not there. Here you are, you have a deficit, and internally you want to generate, you want to borrow, not generate now, the word is not generate, is borrow, I believe I'm right, yeah. 1.2 plus trillion internally. Then externally you want to borrow 1.7 trillion. Borrowing, nations borrow. That's not the crisis. Internally that you want to borrow, where are you borrowing this money from? By the time government is taking 1.something trillion from the market, what is left for the businessman? Where is the access to fund? The Nigerian fiscal policy, monetary policy is also hindering and increasing government cost, because at the end of the day, it's like a ripple effect. Individuals who are not producing for government to have money to do X, Y, and Z are not available. The production level, like what labor union wanted to said we should increase minimum wage from 18 to 35. That day I was very lucky to 52. Okay, 35 was the minimum. I now called in. I said in places like Singapore, salaries are increased by the production level of the nation. If the production level increases, salary increases. Where are you getting the 35 to 52 or whatever amount you're calling that people should start receiving? Where is that money coming from? It's an unreasonable advocacy. The advocacy should be putting pressure on government for production. Singapore does not increase salary until they have reviewed their economy. And they are borrowing money at 5% for those who want to do housing. How many average Nigerians own a house? There are many opportunities to spur up this economy. Housing is one. By the time you declare a house for every Nigerian, job creation will happen. The banker will roll up his sleeve and turn to bricklayer and become plumber. Because the number of houses that are being generated will increase the economic value and the people's buy-in. And asking Lee Kuan Yew, the late Lee Kuan Yew, before he passed on, as he passed the same spirit, why are you doing that? He said, so that my people will have a stake. The truth is that the average Nigerian does not have a stake in Nigeria. That patriotism that we need to advance us, but patriotism has a correlation to national value, and national value increases production and wealth. So therefore, if a people are just simply doing a budget at July and showing us just to tell us they are working and signing some things, that's not what we need. We need the activity of government. For example, while on a Saturday you are always closing down for election, what is the real reason? Because you know that a bunch of uncivilized people are running a process, and someone is going to hijack a ballot box and run into the forest. So the level of insecurity, lack of education, lack of civility is really the problem. So why not concentrate on that and give me the opportunity to have gone to my shop today, or a woman who is selling something, to make some money for her family. But today everybody across Lagos has lost X amount.
Mr. Onyegbode.
So that's not intelligent for us to be doing.
This discussion is not now. It's been on the issue surrounding cost of governance, and everyone has had something to say as to how we can bring it down. Why does it look as if it is not working? What else can we do to make it work?
Well, to be civil, we'll still continue to discuss it.
It's critical.
To be civil, we just discuss it. Because, like, this is a burning issue, and that's why we, at various stations, various mediums, they discuss it. But this is a country whereby most of these things we say, most of the things people advocate for, are leaders. They are not willing to do or to act to what we are requesting because of their own selfish, myopic, and unrealistic entity that they belong. Because if you look at it this way, when she was talking, she said, how will a senator that is part of the 109 will now next 4 years says he is part of those people